Do you want to earn back her respect, her trust, and her love without begging, over explaining, or proving yourself? How about saving your marriage when she's already pursuing divorce? Listen, there is one psychological trigger that makes it all possible. Over the last decade as a licensed therapist, I've worked with men in marriages that felt impossible to save. Here's what I discovered. Influence in a marriage isn't magic. It is method. That means anyone can learn it.
A week ago, we tore up the divorce papers. I've been in the house for about a month now. We told our daughters. She led with it, basically saying daddy and mommy are going to get married again.
So in this video, I'm going to show you the 5 steps that soften her guard and restore her trust even when she's 100% done. The third one makes her confront the way she treated you throughout the whole entire process.
And she started crying, looking because we did it in the condo, and she was just like, man, I put you through so much, and you stayed so kind. I gave you no reason to think that this was ever going to work again.
Let's jump in. Now, Taylan found this channel right when he needed it most, and the dots connected immediately.
I'm like, man, this is crazy, and there must be some science behind this because what you're stating is literally what's happening right now in my marriage.
So what was going on in his marriage? Now tell me if this sounds familiar.
Probably about a year and a half ago, she was on a trip to see her granddad who lives in Missouri. She loves it out there. And she texted me and said, essentially, like, I don't think this is working. Like, I think we should probably go our separate ways. And obviously, I texted her back and was like, I don't want that. Like, this was kind of a surprise, honestly.
Countless men get the rug pulled out from under them, but looking back, Taylan can now see what he couldn't then.
Being in a healthy perspective here, our marriage was not good. Like, we were at each other's throats, both of us walking on eggshells. Like, I had massive anger towards her and the kids, and it was just like, from a healthy perspective, I can see it. It's like, wow, she was so freaking smart to do that. In that moment, it was probably every guy's, you know, story of like being extremely needy and trying to like prove change in a week.
And like most men, like yourself, they did what couples are supposed to do. They went to counsel, but look what happened when they did.
We have been going to therapy. Couples counseling didn't actually work at all, surprising. Um, and that was a hard one because the therapist kind of like yelled at her like 8 sessions in about like, why are you not seeing this? Like he's a good man, like trying to
Oh,
convince her through words.
wow. I've never heard that before from a therapist.
I know it wasn't good. And me being dumb was like, see,
Yep.
someone's on my side.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
We tried to like make everything work 2 to 3 months. We went through Christmas, had my family all at our house, which was super fun. But after Christmas, she essentially told me it wasn't working. So we separated come March, I believe.
Not only did counseling do nothing to move the needle, but Taylan had 2 other things working against him. He had to move out. Every father's nightmare, sleeping in a different place than your kids. And secondly, things only got worse when they sat down with the lawyers.
I moved out of the house. I found a townhouse about 5 minutes away, which is nice. My big thing was like the feeling of abandoning my kids was really high. So I've kind of learned through this process that I have a big problem with giving myself grace. So I kind of viewed this as a failure when really it shouldn't have been viewed as a failure. 3 months ago, we were in mediation and
Oh,
it was terrible. I wanted 50-50 of the kids. She is a fantastic mother. Like, I know everyone says that, right?
with mediation pushing them toward divorce, what could possibly turn this around? Well, the first step is something most men never even think to do, but it's what softens their guard and stops the constant bickering. Listen to Taylan describe the painful truth that she's been hiding.
I asked her specifically if she was having an emotional affair with someone
Mm,
because I had a suspicion on it, and she told me she was, and that it was
mm.
probably hard to hear, and that she would love to talk to me more about it. Um, and I was at the gym when she told me basically yes, and this was after our conversation, kind of leads into it, but um, it was hard hearing that because it was one of my buddies. Um, And I was like, really, my energy. I was super glad I was at the gym because I was able to get that out. And I called Alex, and he really helped me there because he was able to calm me down and basically like help me determine like, hey, this is what you want. If she is not it, then move forward or not move forward, essentially. I'm like, yeah, you're right.
Right.
This is what I want. I
Yeah.
want transparency, I want honesty, I want integrity, like my core values, integrity and love. I want these things.
It's what Taylan said next that defines this first step. Listen to his words when they FaceTimed outside of the gym.
And I basically said, listen, I don't care what happened during our separation. It was such a beautiful conversation. Like she started crying and I started crying too. And I just said, like, I don't remember word for word, but essentially, if that is the case, then I don't care what happened. Like, I can give myself grace and I can give you a lot of grace too. Because end of the day, I put you in that position. Um, like I put you in a 4,000 square foot house alone. Like this is, I feel like you were abandoned and it was my fault. And of course, you found someone else to take care of your emotional needs.
The principle here is radical responsibility. This means out of the whole entire situation, you own 100% of your part. This is not neglecting the fact of her part. It is simply about focus, about perception, about where you choose to focus your energy, okay? You can only change what you can control. Your ego wants you to focus on her part, but it is a trap because it will be the one thing keeping her away from you. Think of it like a house fire. The place is burning down, right? Now, you can stand outside arguing about who left the stove on, or you can go ahead and grab a hose and put it out. Blame keeps that fire going. Responsibility cools things off. Now, this is crucial because when your wife is done, right, when she says those words, her guard goes up. She's been hurt. Of course, so naturally she wants to defend herself. She wants to shut down. She's going to be cold to you. Every conversation feels like a fight waiting to happen. So when you come in blaming her or defending yourself, it only proves the point, right? It tells her that you still don't get it. But when you own your part without excuses, that's when her guard drops. Now, here's what it looks like. Taylan didn't say, well, you had an affair, so we're even, right? He didn't say, I worked 80 hours a week to provide for you. He said, I put you in that position. I abandoned you. Of course, you looked elsewhere. Now, as hard as that is, if you feel some tension and resistance to that statement, then you don't have radical responsibility, and that's okay. But over time, that is the goal, to get to that place, to show empathy, to own your part. You take the hit, right? And you do it without keeping score. This is what an advanced male does, right? A masculine man. So ask yourself, what did I do to make her feel unstable over the years? How did I push her away? That's where you start to rebuild trust, by owning your part. Now, that's the first step, but there's another step that Taylan had to face about himself that most men are completely blind to. If you don't address this next piece, honestly, you'll never regain that spark in her eye and the respect in her voice. There's this softening and this draw towards you that she used to have with you. Taylan spells it out pretty clearly.
One of the big ones was understanding why I do what I do for other people, as kind of No More Mr. Nice Guys goes through this, the covert contract. Understanding who I am as a person and the emotional intelligence behind that, and not just floating through life. So not just being kind to someone because they're going to give you something or because you expect something. I didn't even realize I was doing that. When it comes to physical connection, like sex and all that fun stuff, like that was 100% happening.
Taylan is taking what we call the nice guy extraction. It means pulling yourself out of a pattern that you've been stuck in for years. Okay, an emotional pattern. That when something happens, you respond emotionally. Therefore, you respond with your actions because your actions follow your emotions. And that pattern where you do things for her with a hidden expectation attached. Because as a boy, you learned that's how you get love, by doing things, by achieving. Okay. Now, what most men do is they keep score without even telling her the game. You take out the trash, you rub her feet, you listen to her about her work and complaining. And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, now she should want me. Now she should appreciate me. She should see how hard I'm trying for her, how much I'm doing for her. But she doesn't owe you a damn thing, as much as you don't owe her a damn thing, right? That is a horse trading relationship. You want to ascend above that. So, because what happens when you're in this like tit for tat relationship? You get angry when you don't get what you want. You get frustrated. You have resentment build and build and build. That's a contract underneath the surface. You're being kind to get something in return. So it's not genuine kindness, and it kills attraction faster than almost anything else because she senses that covert contract. One of the most attractive things you can do as a man is to be who you are despite what happens. Okay. So when you do things for her approval, for an outcome, she doesn't see a strong man. She sees a boy trying to be good enough for mommy. Okay, I'm sorry to be like blunt about that, but that's how she feels. You can't negotiate desire. You can't earn your way back into her heart by doing things, especially if it's coming from a place that's not really you. You're trying to get something. She senses that, as all women do. In the movie Spider-Man, for example, Peter Parker, he spends the entire movie being this perfect, nice guy, friend to Mary Jane. Now, I love Spider-Man, but he's a poor example about how to be an apex male, right? He listens to her problems. He's always there. He does everything right. And she sees him as a sweet friend. Nothing more. It's only after he stops trying so hard, after he starts living his own life as Spider-Man, that she suddenly sees him differently. And there's so much symbolism there now that I think about it, right? So here's the fix. Stop doing things to get a reaction, okay? If you want to do the dishes, do the chores, it's because you want to see a clean sink, not because you want her to be like, oh, thank you, right? If you want to get her coffee, it's not because you need her to like, oh, he's doing things for me, he has value. No, it's, you know, your value, right? You don't expect anything in return, and she can sense that. So here's a simple test. Think of this on a larger level. Are you watching this video now to get her back or because you want to be a better man? Now, it's okay right now if you're doing this because you want her back. Most guys are there. But you have to recognize the long-term goal is to be able to want to be a better man because you want to be a better man, a better father, a better human being. Now, when Taylan removed himself from this nice guy pattern, he became a man, gave freely. And that's when she started to see him differently. He paired that technique, that concept with this next principle. It created the biggest breakthrough in his story in getting his wife back.
That was like a turning point, that it was just like eye-opening to her.
It's about emotional intelligence. Have a listen.
The bigger gist of it is the emotional intelligence. The lack thereof that I had before to now is just like, I literally didn't know what the word was before this course, you know? Because you always have those emotions where you're like, that mad kicks in. Learning that madness or anger is not actually the primary feeling, but that's just kind of the shadow feeling. That was a big one. The emotional intelligence, learning through that.
Imagine a car dashboard. Okay. The check engine light comes on, right? And most guys, they'll stare at the light and they react to the light. They get mad at the light, but the light isn't the real problem, is it? The light is telling you something is wrong underneath the car, underneath the hood, somewhere in the car that you can't see. The light is an indicator, okay? That's what anger is. It's a check engine light of emotions. It's a surface level emotion, right? There's something underneath that anger. So when your wife comes at you with heated words, insults, your effort as a father, or her eye rolls, or whatever she's doing, your first reaction might be anger, but anger is almost never the real feeling for her or for you, okay? Underneath her anger is pain, okay? Anger is what shows up because it makes us feel powerful. But underneath that anger, it's fear, it's abandonment, it's hurt, it's shame, it's disrespect, it's feeling unseen, underappreciated for the both of you. So the principle here to understand is emotional intelligence. This is the awareness of the true emotion, because once you address and understand the true emotion underneath the anger, the frustration, or the annoyance for her or for you, you could address the source of it. You take correct action. Instead of acting through anger, you act through the honest emotion. This is your ability to rise above the immediate reaction, to identify what you're actually feeling and stay calm when you do it. Now, here's why it matters so much. When you're trying to reconnect with your wife, if you can't name what you're feeling, you can't regulate yourself. If you can't regulate yourself, you can't hold space for her. Therefore, she's not going to feel safe, and you're going to react, and she's going to say, you are the same man. You're no different. You guys have been in this emotional dance. When she criticizes, you shut down, you guys go back and forth, you get angry, you either defend, watch size, run away, go inward. It's the same dance every single time, isn't it? And so for this pattern to change, for your relationship to change, it starts with you recognizing your emotions. Now, there's no trick to this. It's just something that you have to learn yourself, a new emotional habit. And the next time you feel those negative emotions, the frustration, the anger, don't react. Take a deep breath, calm down. Tell yourself, I'm feeling this way and it's okay. I feel anxious. I'm going to feel anxious plenty more times in my life. Good. Allow me to feel anxious. Accept, embrace the emotion. You're not going to be used to this at first, but that is the process of emotional intelligence. If you feel ashamed, go to the depths of the shame. Sit with it. Don't distract yourself. Don't get on your phone. Don't go talk to someone. Don't go smoke a cigarette. Don't go drink beer. Whatever you do to distract yourself, stop. Okay. Allow yourself to feel that emotion. I know it sounds so simple, but so many men run from themselves their whole life. Okay. Sit with your emotion. It'll wash through you, and you're teaching yourself that it's okay to be you. That creates self-esteem. When you distract yourself, it's saying subconsciously, I'm not okay to be who I am. And the same thing with her, but she's having her emotions. You distract her, try to logicize her emotions. She feels the same way. That's what Taylan learned. And he described what most men never get taught.
Every single man needs to know the things that are taught here. Like society kind of fails us because we don't learn the emotional intelligence. As children, we're often taught to like, suck it up, avoid the emotions. And that kind of just leads us into this position where we can't connect with the feminine. So, yeah, it's good. I never thought I would benefit so much.
But even with stronger emotional intelligence, Taylor still had to answer a bigger question. Knowing what you feel is one thing. Knowing what you actually want is a whole nother thing. So for the fourth concept, listen to Taylor describe the confidence that came from this part.
I felt like I could have anyone I wanted. And maybe that's a confidence thing that kind of came into it as well. But like I quite literally, with the combination of who I am, emotional intelligence, and just learning what the feminine energy actually desires, I quite literally thought I could have anyone I wanted. So if I wanted my wife, I could have her. And my perspective of if she fits my desire for a partner, it's not just the fact that I could land anyone I wanted. It's like I will land the person I want to land. Um, and that has been my wife. You know, I truly throughout this, and I've told her this, and my family has also said this to her. He's never said a bad thing about you.
If we're talking about leading with values, it means you decide what kind of man you want to be, and you live by that standard no matter what. You don't get swayed by who you are. You know who you are, your authentic self, your soul, and you operate from that perspective. And this starts with choosing your values first. For example, mine right now in 2026, I change mine consistently every year, is faith, or just trusting God that I don't know everything that's happening right now, but there's a benevolent reason why. And I trust his guidance. Okay. Confidence to help me face the fear. Okay. To give me certainty of what to do. And then authenticity to fully be who I am no matter what. Those are my top 3 values. I recommend you have top 5. Okay. And here's why this matters. When you're chasing her approval, you're in her frame. You're reactive. You need her to validate your existence. But when you lead with your values, you become grounded. You stop taking your coldness personally because you know who you are. You stop getting desperate because you know what you bring to the table. And women are attracted to men who know what they stand for and but they won't settle for less. How Taylan realized something powerful. His number one value used to be hard work, and it nearly destroyed his marriage.
My values actually changed from the beginning of this. Like I was hardworking. That was another big issue was I was working like 80 hours a week. So she felt completely abandoned.
Yeah.
Cut my hours completely. And the ironic part is I actually don't make that much less money. Literally cutting it in half, maybe like a 10% drop.
Crazy. He cut his hours in half, made almost the same money as well, which is crazy, right? People think they work 12-hour days, they work 70-hour weeks. Anyways, that's a whole side tangent. More importantly, he became present. And when he made the bigger change,
I changed hardworking to love about 7 months ago. My number one value is choosing love. And that's kind of a big, broad topic. The Bible has a lot of different definitions on love. But I think it freaking encompasses everything. I think it's just like, I think that word is literally everything. It's how our world works.
when your values are clear, your boundaries and your decisions become clear. You stop second guessing and wondering if you're doing the right thing. Then here is how you do it. Action. Without action, there's no change. I give you action on this channel, okay? Sit down and write out your top 5 values, okay? Not what you think they should be. Truly look at what values are and think about it. Put a lot of intention behind this. Make it a ceremony of sorts. And ask yourself, are these values creating the life in the marriage I want? If not, what values would? Start with your values and see how those will create the man that you are. And that man creates the life you get. Maybe it's love like Taylan. Maybe it's presence or integrity. Maybe it's faith like myself. Write them down and start making decisions based on those values. Even when it's hard. When your wife tests you, you don't react from fear. You trust me, okay? You trust this process that when you are who you are, she will respect you. When she's cold, you don't chase. You stay kind because that's your value. When she criticizes you, you don't defend. You stay grounded because you know who you are. And that's what Taylan did. And here's what he told his therapist months before it all came together.
And it's funny because I actually told my therapist like 3 months ago, I said, I'm getting this girl back if I want her back, and I'll invite you to the wedding. And that's what happened. So I agree with her I think I have a tremendous ability to have faith and stay kind.
If you want to take the first step that Taylan did to get to where he is with his marriage, and you want that desperately yourself, set up a call to our team. It's free. All you have to do is fill out the application. And if you're fully committed and ready to make a change and invest in yourself, then we will help you out. Now, there's one more piece. This final principle is what gave Taylan the freedom to actually win her back. Listen to what Taylan experienced.
We were just doing a lot more stuff together. She was texting me more often, and I'm like, okay, this is nice. This is fun. Like, at the same time, I was fully content on the path that we were on of not getting back together. Like fully content. And that felt really good. It was like freeing. Like I feel super good, honestly. And major confidence. My attorney literally told me during mediation, she said, I feel like you should do a course on how to handle divorce well. Because
Create a course. Yeah.
well, essentially teach her clients, clients on how to not build resentment towards this process.
I'm going to put a whole video on the end of this one about the law of detachment. It's one of the best in the channel. I was tapped into something when I was recording. There was no script. I recommend you highly. You watch that one. It's really good. But I'll give you a teaser in that letting go is, if there was one automatic thing you could do, just one thing that would convey the most your changes and getting her back. It's this process. It's recognizing that you're living in accordance with God, in that there's nothing external to make you feel good about yourself. That's the connection with God. And I'm not going to get too religious here, but you're letting go of the idea that she can make you happy. I know that sounds crazy maybe to some of you listening, but you used to be there. In fact, for many men, for most men, you were at a point in your life before you met her where you were at your peak. You were joyful and happy and confident without her. So what happened, right? Not going to get too much into it, but letting go it's not an easy process, but it is simple and it's execution.
The complete change. And I will call it that. It's a complete change in who I was to now. So getting Kelly back is essentially a byproduct. The actual change in me is amazing. So
the letting go concept we teach, like you embrace like, hey, I guess we're going to go through divorce. That's fine. And you embrace that. You're like, you accepted reality for what it was. And that was the first step. Because when so many guys, when they come into the program, they're holding on to the outcome of forcing to get the wife back. And she's obviously going to stay in the same dynamic. All right, the more you're going to force, the more it's unsafe I feel, the more I'm going to pull away.
It's no surprise that letting go is easier said than done. So what allowed Taylan to do it? Well, have a listen.
It's been a fun little sentence that we've stated in the last month. Because we're selling both houses now, and we put a bid on a beautiful lot about 45 minutes away, starting new, whether that works out or not is okay because God wants good things for us, and that has been our statement: is God wants good things for us, and we can have faith in that. And the things that we want aren't necessarily maybe what He wants, but He always wants good things. So that was my faith. That was whether I separate and, we have a beautiful friendship and we have beautiful kids and we co-parent amazingly. If that's the path God wants, it's beautiful and He wants good things for me. If the other path, us getting together, is what He wants, He will open the doors to make it happen. And that allowed me to have so much faith. Because if I trust that God wants good things, then how could I not? Yeah, I believe that I have someone looking out for me that truly wants the absolute best, and not only that, but He knows the absolute best. So it's so much easier to trust the unknown when you believe that.
When Taylan believed both outcomes could be good, he stopped needing one specific result. That's what freedom. Now here's how you could practice this. I'm going to leave you with some practical, tangible stuff here, okay? In ancient Stoic practice, they call this negative visualization, okay? So it comes from Stoicism. Picture the divorce happening. Truly picture it. You're co-parenting, you have your own place, you rebuilt your life, you're doing your own hobbies, you have more freedom again. Maybe you're dating another woman. Ask yourself, can I build a good life from that? Can I be okay with that? Will I survive? Will I find happiness and joy without her? If the answer is no, there's still a little bit of work to do, and that's okay. But if your answer is yes, then you're starting to release the illusion. This doesn't mean, a lot of guys think that if I picture her without me, then that means I'm like giving energy to that reality. So no, you're not. You can picture a lot of things happening bad right now. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, right? In fact, when you embrace the worst possible scenario, you recognize you can live through it. It breaks the illusion that you're creating with her. It's walking you through your own personal hell and saying that you have gotten through this. This giving that attention doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay. I've never shared that exercise before because I was always afraid of a guy being like, what Josh is telling me to picture my wife. Yeah, I am. Because when you realize that you could be happy and good without her, the next time you walk up to her, she will feel that detachment like, oh, this guy doesn't need me anymore, but you'll still want her. See, that's the attraction paradox that I talk about in my program. Now, here's the video on the law of detachment. I highly recommend you watch it. And another testimonial video. Again, if you need help from us, we got you. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.